showing you Counting Caterpillars from Music Game Club. So what you get whenever you get Counting Caterpillars, you'll get 2 game boards, which this gameplay, basically you need to print 1 game board per student. So if you have 6 students playing, print 6 game boards. You also have 48 Counting Caterpillar cards, and these are a mix of note cards and specialty cards. So going through all of the cards, there's 8th rest, 8th note, double 8th note, quarter note, quarter rest, dotted quarter note, half note, half rest, whole rest, whole note, and then specialty cards. Rainy Day, whenever a student picks this, they will discard this immediately. It will make sense in a little bit, and they skip their turn. If they get a windstorm, they discard the card and the last card in their measure, and then Metamorphosis, which will complete the measure that they're currently on. You also get these game tokens. On one side it has the butterfly, the other side there are 4 different time signatures, 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, and 5-4. So what you want with these is you want to have these mixed up, and you don't want the student to know which one they're getting. So these, mix them up and have them butterfly side up. When the game is finished, you have a success poster that says, "I flew my way to the top," so you can take pictures of your students celebrating their success, and this is also a really good thing to send to the parents to kind of just help build that motivation and incentive. And finally, you get a worksheet where they color by time signature, so they can color their own caterpillar, and also kind of gets them familiar. I especially love this one because a lot of students don't see 5-4. They might get familiar with 3-4 and 4-4 and don't see 2-4 or 5-4 as much. So this just builds the familiarity with all the different time signatures. All right, let's play some Counting Caterpillars. I'm playing this with 2 students head to head. You can play it with 4 students, 3 students, 5 students, 6 students. It just realize that it will take a little bit longer time the more students you add. So you want to shuffle your cards and stick them in the center. And then each player gets their 4 time signature cards, 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, and 5-4. Like I said earlier, you want to mix these up so that the student doesn't know which one they're getting, and just like stick them on the side of the board. All right, so play begins. Each player will flip up their time signature. So this one gets 4-4. And this one gets 3-4. I'm going to say this is player 1. And this is player 2. So each player gets dealt 2 cards. Now, if a specialty card gets turned up, replace it. So put that in the middle of the deck. And apparently there's 2 back to back. Don't deal your students specialty cards, just because most specialty cards have to be played immediately. Okay, so they have their 2 cards and they have their tokens. So player 1 goes first, and they've got to go for 4-4 measures. So what they do is they draw a card, and look at them. They get a whole rest. So actually, they put it there, and then they would clap and count it, which is doing 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that allows this butterfly to metamorphosize, and they put it on the 4-4 token. They discard this, and they flip up another token. Player 2's turn, they draw a card. It's an 8th note. So they have 3 cards they can choose from. They're gonna play the quarter note. Player 1 goes again, they draw a card, and they're gonna play their dotted half note. Player 1 draws a card. Ooh, windstorm. So discard this card and the last card in your measure. So basically this is a skip turn. They have to play this card and they have to lose the last card that they just laid down. So now they're back at nothing. Perfect, it's a quarter note, so they're gonna play that. They clap and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and their butterfly lands on the 3-4 and they discard their card. They flip up another token. All right, now some students would put this one down because it gets one beat. But for me, I like keeping things mathematically simple, so I'm going to put the 8th rest down. Player 2 goes. They get a quarter note. Again, I could put the quarter note there, but I'm gonna keep it mathematically simple. You will have students who will throw in just the mathematical, hey, it makes sense, so they'll throw it in which case, if it's complicated rhythms and they've given themselves really nice syncopated timing, then you can clap and count it for them. And you can maybe even clap 2 different measures and say, hey, which one is correct? And that way, if they can't count it because they've done something that's too complicated for them, they can still get the awareness of how that rhythm goes. All right, I'm back to player 1. They get metamorphosis, which means they automatically finish this measure out. So for this one, obviously they won't count 5/4 because there's not enough there. If you wanted to, you could be like, hey, let's fill the rest with quarter notes and have them clap and count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and if you wanted to. But this one, it's an automatic, their butterfly happens and they discard their cards. Rainy Day. This one is just a skip turn. They just discard this card and they don't get to play. Player 1 goes again. Okay, they can't play anything. So they have to decide which card they're gonna discard. So I'm just gonna discard this one. Player 2 just gets the metamorphosis. All right, so their measure is completed. So again, if you wanted them to count 4/4, let's just count it quarter notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then they get theirs, discard, and their final butterfly, which is 2/4. So player 1 has won, and they've collected all 4 of their tokens. If you wanted to continue and be like, okay, player 2 gets 1 more turn, you can do that. Or you can just keep going, until they, well, here you go. They can just lay down all their cards and say, hey, it worked. So if you wanted to end the game, to get that extra little bit of practice in, you can. And then that one, they can clap and count. So 1 and 2, and I put in 1 too many. So that's how you can discover sometimes you did 1 too many. So that would be that one. You can say, okay, yeah, you got 2nd place, if you wanted to. There are a few different things that you can do to make this easier. If you wanted to take out the 8th notes, the single 8th notes, single 8th rests, and the dotted quarter notes wherever they are, you can take those out and the gameplay still works just fine. So if you want a little bit easier of a variation, that is one way you can do it. And there are also different ways that you can do whenever they have completed a measure. So, they've got their measure here that they've done. Let's just throw in a 2/4 measure. So they can either clap and count it, they can sing it with different syllables, they can play it on the piano. Pretty much any way that you do your rhythm exercise, you can do it as the completion of the measure. If you also need a shorter gameplay, then you can just choose one of these and assign them. So let's say you had 4 students and you knew you wouldn't have time to play all of these. Either you can just say, let's see how far we can go in 5 minutes, or you can give everyone, let's say you're learning the 5/4 meter. And so you give everyone a 5/4 and they have to figure out a 5/4. So that would be another way you can do that. Another way to make this easier for some students who really like hands-on is you can laminate these and then use a dry erase marker. So then whenever they have their time like this, like sometimes it gets like really crazy. I'm trying to create things because you know that your kids will be creating things as they go and they're not going to necessarily be like, oh, that's the easiest way to read this. So let's say your student came up with something like that and they're having a little bit of trouble doing it. So if you have it laminated, then you can use a dry erase marker and they can do 1 and 2 and 3. and then they know what to finish out. So that would be an easy way for them to do it. I hope that you and your students enjoy playing Counter Caterpillars, and if you have any great game suggestion ideas in addition to these, because there's more than one way to play this game. We've got some alternate gameplays coming out for you. If you have any ideas that you discovered with playing this game, let us know. Either email us at support@musicgameclub, or find us on our Facebook group, which is private for members only, or leave a comment here on the video below and help us know other gameplays that other teachers can play so we can get the most out of our Counting Caterpillars game. Enjoy.